Hello everyone, my name is Maggie and today I'm going to show you how to use the FormDev Trainer intranet. So to start, we're going to log in and you're going to use the email you currently use for Manageable to log in and obviously enter in our password and connect. Once we connect, we get to the FormDev Trainer intranet welcome page. And as we see, I'm on my intranet. We have several different menus. So let's take a very quick look at what they are. So we have my planning, my profile, declaring my unavailability. We'll go into detail about that a little bit later. My learners, organizations. We will not use this menu. Managing our signatures. So this is a new feature that is integrated into the trainer intranet. It's going to allow us to manage all the signatures for the lessons directly in the intranet. So we will no longer use So We Sign. And my sessions. A session in FormDev language is a course, and we will look at this menu in greater detail a bit later on. So very briefly, we're going to look at some details within each menu. So I'm going to start with my planning. And for example, I want to look at my planning for the week of the 15th. So I'm going to just use this little arrow to move forward in the planning. If I want to go back and check a lesson that I did at the beginning of the month, I just use the back arrow. I can change the view of how I view my planning. So here it's by week, but I can also look at the month. So here I have an overview of my planning for the month of June. And I can also look at a day if I want to. So here it's the 1st of June and the lessons I have on a specific day. If I want a list of lessons, I'm going to select the views that I prefer. So if I want a list of all the lessons that I have the week of June 15th, I would click on week or semaine, go to the week that I'm interested in, come back to the view, click on list, and I will get a list of the lessons that I have that week. Okay, just for your information, the trainer intranet for the demo is only in French, but the real trainer intranet that will go live on July 1st will also be available in English. And you will be able to choose the language in your profile. So that's just a very quick overview of how to move around. So we're going to come back to Wika and check the different lessons that you have on your planning. We're going to go into a lot more detail on how to manage the planning in a few moments. If I go into my profile, this is where I'm going to be able to change my password. As I mentioned, you will also be able to choose the language of the intranet that is best for you, either French or English, and also disconnect. In declaring my unavailability, we will look at this menu in detail when we work on the planning. Consulting my learners. So this will be a list of all your current learners, but also learners that are to come. So for courses that will start in the near future. So if I'm looking for the email address of one of my learners. So I'm looking for the email address of Carol Martin. I'm just going to use my little scroll bar to move across, and I see that her email is here. And so I can just copy paste and send her an email. Organizations we will not use. Signatures, I will go into detail on how to use the signature tool at the end of the demo, but it's very similar to So We Sign. And My Sessions is going to give you a list of all the courses that you are assigned to. So there's a lot of information in this menu. If you scroll over the name of the session, you will get the full information and the full name of the session. So for example, here I can see it's group 1 from Chanel. They're B1 English, and the manager of the course is Courtney. If I go to Madame Martin, I see that it's the last name. So we're going to, in the nomenclature, it will be the last name of the learner, the company, also B1 English, and that the person managing this course is Sylvia. We have different columns, but we can move along the different columns by using the scroll bar. So here I have where these courses will take place. So I see that for my Group 3 Banque de France, it's face-to-face at their offices. So here's the address. And for Windsor, same thing. It's face-to-face, and here is the address. Here on État or state, these are courses that are started, so ongoing. And oops, let me just come back. And courses to come. In remplissage, I will see the number of learners. Okay, so 1 learner here, 6 learners for Banque de France, a group of 4, etc. If there are any, if anyone's declared a specific handicap, it will be indicated here. If there are specific opening or closing hours, we will have that information here. Oops, sorry. And the last column is the date the course starts and the date by which the course needs to finish. We will go into these other menus when we go into the detail of how to use the session information. Some of you have noticed that I'm clicking on this little house. So when I click on this little house or the logo, I come back to the welcome page of the intranet. I also have some shortcuts to help you navigate around the different menus. For example, if I'm in my planning and I want to look at my sessions, I can click on these buttons and it will take me directly to the menu without going through the welcome page. So these are the 3 important menus that you will use probably on a daily basis. So planning, unavailability, and My Sessions. So just a reminder, a session in FormDev is a course. On the other side, we have My Profile. So this again is where you change your password. You can change the language on the Real Trainer intranet and disconnect. And you have a little notifications center. So here I see that I received a notification from Pedagogy regarding Carol Martin, telling me that she's going to participate in the Vinci Leadership Training Program, and the first meeting is on June 30th. She needs to prepare a short presentation of herself and career at Vinci. So this is this notification center can be used by the CCs to send you information about the course, but also you can send information to yourself if you want to. I'll show you how to do that a bit later. And if we have notifications, we'll see a little red button with the number of notifications that you have. And it's highly recommended that you read them because it can be the pedagogy department or the CCs that send you some additional information. I'm going to come back to the welcome page. So either through the house or through the logo. Another tip and trick that can be extremely useful is to open two tabs on your browser, one with your planning and the second one with your sessions. And an easy way to do that is just to copy the address, open a second tab, paste the address, hit enter, and you have a second tab open, and you can then navigate between the two. And this will become very useful later on. That's an overview of the welcome page and the different menus. We're now going to go into much greater detail on how to manage the planning. Now we're going to look at the planning menu, and we're going to see on FormDev how to manage all aspects of planning. So everything that you do on Manageable today, we're going to look at how to do that on FormDev. So I'm going to go onto my planning menu. Just a quick note before we start. I mentioned a little tip to use these menus, or to go back to the home page. We use the house or the logo. I highly recommend you do not use the back arrow. It will just take the system a lot of time to get back to the menu you're looking for. So the easiest way really to navigate within FormDev and within the different menus is using these buttons or the house or logo to come back to the welcome page. So we're going to go to the planning menu, and I want to view my planning for the week of June 15th. So I can do that either by using the arrows, or I can also click on the date range here and click on the 15th, and it will bring me directly to the week of the 15th. I see on my planning that I have different lessons and they're in different colors. Now, a lesson in FormDev language is called a module. So we will be scheduling modules or modifying modules. Different colors mean different things. So for example, yellow is on-site La Défense. Blue is Visio La Défense. I have light green for Visio at home. White is at clients' offices. Red is going to be unavailable. I have a darker green for Visio Houseman. And if I click on Planifier, I will see all the different modules available to be used on the planning. They're organized by color and by location. So here we have all the different colors for on-site, so Angers, Haussmann, La Défense, and Rennes. White will always be for client offices. If you're in training, it's going to be Ma Formation. If you're a tester, in doing oral tests, we'll use this module, and then we have also the different Visio modules. if I put my mouse and I scroll over the different module or the different lesson, I have little icons that start giving me some information. So I see that there's only one trainer on this lesson, 3 participants, ressources matérielles. So ressources matérielles in FormDev language are going to be the meeting rooms or the Visio desks, that it's a 2-hour lesson, and here I have the start and finish time. So this lesson is from 2 to 4, and that 42.5 hours have been planned in total. If I look at another module, I see here that it's I have one person training, one trainer, so me, one participant, that there are no meeting rooms or video desks reserved because it's doing the Visio lesson at home. It's a 1-hour lesson, and that 6 hours have been planned in total, and that the lesson is from 2 to 3. Here I see that I have a lesson out, so at a client office. I want to know where I need to go. So I'm going to click on these 3 little dots, and I get some information, but not where I need to go. So here I'm going to have information on who's participating. So I have the 6 participants for this lesson. And I see that I have no ressources matérielles affectées because it's at a client office. So if I need to see where I need to go, I have to go find that information in the sessions menu. So for those that use the double tab option, this is where it's really interesting to have the double tab because you can have your sessions open. So I'm going to show you how to do that again. So we copy the address, we open a second tab, and we choose the sessions menu. So I saw that it was Group 3 Banque de France, and so I see that the address is here. So 39 Rue Croix des Petits Champs. Going to come back to my planning menu. For those that only use a single tab, you would just go into the sessions menu. We have the group name here, so group 3. We find group 3, and we find the same information, 39 Rue Croix des Petits Champs. So that's where my lesson is going to be. Okay, so back to planning. And I'm going to go to the 15th. I also need to know in what meeting room I'm going to be in at La Défense on Monday. So for that, I will click on the 3 little dots. I will go into details, and here I will find that information. So the 3 learners that will participate. And here under ressources matérielles affectées, or in English, hopefully this will say meeting rooms, I see that there's something selected and that I'm in La Défense, Les Collines 2. So here I know I will be in Les Collines 2. And for my Visio lesson at La Défense, I'm going to check the same thing. So 3 little dots, details, scroll down, and under ressources matérielles affectées, I see that I'm in Colline 1 at La Défense for that Visio lesson. Okay. And same thing if I wanted to check for Ausman, what Visio desk I'm in, I would go to details, scroll down, and I see that I'm on 2A. So that's how we find the information about the meeting rooms, the Visio desks. And just as a reminder, if you're out teaching face-to-face at a client's location, you need to go into the sessions to find the information. Okay, so back here, sessions, Banque de France, and here's our address. We see that for each, we have the names, the way the names of the sessions are organized is we're going to use the last name of the learner if it's an individual course, and the group name if it's a group course. And that way, that will help you easily find the session, the sessions, and the different information on the sessions. Now, let me just go back to the 15th. So now I received an email from Monsieur Comaret, who would like to change his lesson time from Wednesday to Friday. I see that I'm available. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, with my mouse, grab the lesson and I'm just going to drag and drop it to Friday. And if it's at the same time, I can just move it to the same time, or if he wants it later, I can also put it later. What is important with this when you're changing lesson times or modifying lesson times and dates, if the meeting room that was chosen is no longer available, you will get a little red, this part here under ressources matérielles will become red. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to put him back here on Wednesday. So if I moved Madame Martin, okay, from Haussmann, if I need to absolutely make sure that the meeting room or the Visio desk is still available at that date, if this is red, it means it's no longer available and that you will need to go into details and find a new meeting room. And the meeting rooms or the Visio desks that will be available will be listed here. So here we're going to choose 2B and validate. Okay, so when you're changing lesson times and dates, just make sure that you're also changing the meeting room and choosing a meeting room or a Visio desk that's available. If, so I'm going to put her back here. If she wanted to change this lesson to a different week the following week, okay, there's a very easy way of doing this. You're going to change the view. You're going to change the view to month. I see her lesson here and she wants to move her lesson to Monday. So I just drag and drop it and move it to Monday. I come back to my week view and now I see that her lesson has been moved to Monday, but she doesn't want it from 3:30 to 4:30. She wants it from 2 to 3, and we just drag and drop and move it from 2 to 3. So you can use that drag and drop option to move lesson times and change and modify lessons. Again, very important, because we are changing the date, we need to make sure that the meeting room or the Visio desk is available. So we would click on details scroll down to ressources matérielles, and here maybe only 2C is available. Choose 2C, validate, and save. Okay. We see that she's sent me an email. She's now wanting to change that lesson to the 22nd. Realizes she also has a lesson on the 23rd, but no longer wants that lesson. If we want to delete it and be able to reschedule it later, we just click on the three little dots and we hit supprimer or delete. If you're not comfortable with the drag and drop option for modifying and changing lessons, you can also use the details, so three little dots, details, and change the lesson time and date here. So here, if we wanted to move it to the 23rd, for example, we would choose the 23rd and change the time. So she wants it at 3, validate, and here it would change it, does make sure that the end time and end date is the same. So the 23rd at 4, so we're good, and save. And it moves the lesson. You can also change lesson times and dates that way. And if we wanted to delete a lesson, again, on three little dots, and we delete. Now, if we wanted to schedule a lesson, some learners, they schedule week to week. And we wanted to schedule a lesson on Friday the 10th from 12 to 1. I can just choose with my mouse the time, and the little planning menu will pop up. We're going to select the session, so which course. So this is for Mr. Comare, for example. Which module. So I'm going to do this from Osman. So Visio is from 12 to 1. And I save. Now, because it's Visio at Ausman, I also need to make sure that I have a Visio desk available to do this. So I go to the three dots to details, and I'm going to go choose an available Visio desk. So 2A, validate and save. And we see here that I have one participant and that my Visio desk is reserved. If you want to inform planning that you are unavailable, for example, on Wednesday afternoon, the 8th of July. We're going to use the My Unavailability menu to do that. So you are unavailable from 2 to 6 on Wednesday, July 8th. You're going to click on My Unavailability. You're going to choose your date. So here, July 8th. And you're going to choose the time slot. So here until 6. Okay. Select a module. So we're just going to select unavailable. The times are correct, and the comments are going to be, we're just going to say just off. And save. And now it's marked unavailable. And if we come back to your planning, and select that week, we will see that on your planning, it's marked unavailable, and that way planning will not schedule lessons during that time. So that's your planning in an overview. Again, very simple to use. Entering unavailability, we're going to use the unavailability menu. For example, I've marked that I am unavailable the week of July 13th because I will be on vacation. And so we're going to do that through the unavailable menu, and it will show up on your planning. Okay, and I've got some slots there. Changing lesson times, you can either drag or drop or use the details menu and change the start dates, change the date here and the start times and end times. And this is very similar to Manageable. If you want to schedule a lesson, we find that the easiest way is just to choose the time slot and then fill in the different menus, the session, the module, the start time and end time will automatically be entered, and then just save. Another way to schedule lessons, I'm just going to go to a different week, is also you can use the modules. So for example, if you had a lesson at Osman at 9 in the morning on June 29th, you would select the session, and maybe it's Mr. Abera, that it's at Osman, and that it's from 9 to 10. You save. Again, very important if it's at Osman to go reserve a meeting room for your lesson, and you would choose one of the meeting rooms available, validate, and save. And that is an overview of how to manage your planning on a day-to-day basis. Now we're going to look at the sessions menu. So either we access through here or through here. So I'm going to click on my sessions. And this menu is going to give you a lot of very important information regarding the course. So we have information that we can find in the different columns. But if we go into the detail of a session, then we're going to see that there are a lot of other submenus. So I'm going to go into Madame Martin. And when we click on the session, we're going to get some general information. So we're going to see that the program, it will be B1. In this section here, it will be the person's name that is managing this course. So either Sylvia, Courtney, Corinne, Sylvie, etc., Kate, etc. It's individual. Here are the start date and end date by which the course needs to be finished. Here is the cancellation deadline, that it's English, that she's using her CPF, and that she will be taking the Level 10 certification. So for all the learners using their CPFs, we will see this directly in Accueil Information Générale. So, the welcome page for the session and in general information. We see that she's got 10 hours planned and one learner. It's Visio, and there's really no other specific information. So in intervenant, this is where we will see the trainers that are assigned to this course. So for the moment, there's only me on this course. The participants, so here I have Carole Martin. And in this part here, I see that there's a total of 20 hours. So she will take 20 hours of lessons. She has participated and completed 2. There are 8 planned and 10 that remain to be planned. So this is a learner that is planning lessons from lesson to lesson. If I wanted to see all the lessons planned for her, I could do it by view, so clicking on the different views. But what I find really useful is that we click on the list, and here you will have all the different lessons that are planned for her. Présence, this is the presence or the attendance sheets. This we will manage directly in the signatures, and I will show you how to use that at the end of the demo. Pedagogy, so in the pedagogy menu, we're going to be able to look at course notes and also enter course notes, do the end of course report, or what we call the competency evaluations or skills assessment. Look at the quiz, which is the equivalent of the written test, and we'll go into the details of that shortly. And look also at quality. So in the quality menu, we're going to have all the questionnaires that will be sent to the learner for which they will be able to respond, and will be able to view their responses here, but also the needs analysis. Okay, so if they've completed a needs analysis, we will find that here, and we'll look at the details of that shortly. And in archives, we're going to be able to see all the documents that have been shared with the learner or that have been shared with you, either from the pedagogy department or the CCs, etc. And we're going to go into detail a little bit more in a few moments. But before we look at all of this, I just want to remind you of the nomenclature. So we're going to be using, if it's an individual lesson, the name, the last name of the learner, so that it's easy to find the session information. So remember, a session is a course in FormDev, or the group name. So now let's look at how we find information about a learner. So I'm going to go back to my planning, and I saw the week of the 15th that I have a new learner that will start. Okay, so I've been informed of this. I've received an email from FormDev informing me that I'm going to be starting a new session or a new course with Mr. Abera, and the first lesson is on June 18th. And I want to find information on Mr. Abera. Did he have an oral test? Did he complete the written test? Did he fill out the needs analysis? What is the program that's been communicated to him? So to find all of that information, I'm going to find all of it in sessions. So I'm going to go find his session, and I see that it is here. Okay. If I want a general overview of that session, I have it here. And again, I see it's the B1 program. This will obviously be completed by, this will be the CC's name, or the person responsible for managing that course. Start and finish dates. He has a 48-hour cancellation deadline. It's English. He's not using his CPF. 27 out of 30 hours have been planned. It's Chanel Parfum Beauté, and we need to finalize the agenda. If I want to find the program, I'm going to click on these three little dots, and I'm going to click on download the program or télécharger le programme. And I'm going to generate it into a PDF. And while this is generating, the programs are shared with the learners, so they receive this program. So we highly recommend that you take the time to go and read the program that's been sent to the learner. And here we have the program. You can simply download it and then save it to your computer. Okay. We will also be sending you all the programs and the corresponding competencies in the training pack. Now, I want to know if he's taken the written test and if he's had an oral test. So to do that, I'm going to open the session and I'm going to find that information in the different menus. So if I want to know if he's had an oral test, I'm going to find that information in pedagogy. And going to find that information in Notes pédagogiques, because if he's had an oral test, it will be the first course note under pedagogy course notes. So here I see that he had an oral test on the 28th of May and that the evaluated level is B1.2. If I want to see if the evaluator left notes, I click on the eye icon and I see that the test was done by Courtney on the 28th of May. She gave us some information about the job, his job, how often he speaks English, says he's got great vocabulary in a guided drill, but struggles to speak and needs a lot of work on tenses and syntax. So here we have the result of our oral test. So B1.2 on the CEFR scale. Now we will be moving away from using the 1 to 5 scale to evaluate our learners. So we're no longer going to use 1, 1.25, 1.5, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, etc. But we're going to use the CEFR level, so A1 to C2, and also the sub-levels. So for each level, so A1.1, A1.2, A1.3, A1.4, etc. And then B1.1, B1.2, B1.3, etc., etc., which correspond to the numerical levels. So here evaluated at B1.2. So now I would like to see if he responded to the written test. So to know that, I go and click, so still under the pedagogy menu, to quiz. And I see that it's in green. So yes, he responded. If this was orange, he would not have responded, but it's in green, so he responded. And I can click on the I menu and see the answers to the written test. The scoring of the written test is in a percentage for the moment. In the training guide that you received in the training pack, you have the scale to convert the percentage to level. So we're only converting to a level, not sub-levels. So 40% converts to a B1 level. So we've looked at where to find the program, where to find the oral test results. So it's always the first course note if there's an oral test, where to find the quiz results. So it's here. If it's green, it means the learner responded to the quiz. And now we want to know if he's filled out the needs analysis. So we're going to click on Qualité, and here we see that the recueil de besoins or needs analysis has been sent. So if we click on it, we see that he responded. And we highly recommend that you take a bit of time to read this needs analysis. It has been completely redone and rethought, given that we had to think of it differently in order to make it work with the competencies in FormDev. We've taken the competencies into consideration when we created this new needs analysis. So his responses are here. So now I have start level, answers to the quiz, program, and the needs analysis. I can now start planning my lessons for this learner because I have a certain amount of information. I can take a quick look in archives to see what has been sent to him. And I can see that the welcome pack has been sent to him, and I'll show you a little bit later how to send documents to your learners. So I'm going to go back to my sessions, and I'm going to go back to my planning, and I want to enter a course note into my session information for Madame Martin. So let's say the lesson, I've had this lesson on the 15th of June, and now I want to enter a course note. To do that, I'm going to use my sessions menu. I'm going to open Madame Martin's session. I'm going to open the pedagogy menu, and I'm going to click on course notes, and I'm going to add a course note. So I'm going to add, we worked on make, do, and have, and the lesson happened on the 15th. The creation date will automatically default to the date to today's date. So if you need to change the date so that it aligns with the day the lesson happened, you need to change the date here. So here the lesson happened on June 15th. So I'm going to change it to June 15th. I'm going to add some information. So I'm going to say the theme was make, do, and have. I used a make, do, and have a reference document. The language focus is correcting common errors. And my comments, you know, she did well with the target language. Target language, but needs consolidation. And I save. Okay. You see here that there are other course notes. So when I'm preparing my lessons, I can consult all the different course notes that I've written for her if I don't remember exactly what I did, or maybe I made a note to myself here to work on something with her. And to visualize the different course notes, you just click on the little eye icon and you will see the different course notes. Oh, that's not the one I was looking for. I was looking for the vocabulary one here. Okay. Now I mentioned to you that you have a notification center. I mentioned this to you in the very beginning of the training. That notification message is going to appear in your course notes. Okay, so this is actually, this notification is a note to myself. So the learner does not see these. The learner does not see the course notes. But this is a note that I made to myself saying, that she's part of this leadership program, that she has her first meeting on June 30th. And you can also see there's a typo in there. So we're going to go and I'm going to show you how to fix that. And that she needs to prepare a presentation of herself and career at Vinci. This is just a note to myself to tell me that I need to plan a lesson to help her with this. So that is something you can do, and it will show up in your notification center, because I put a reminder to myself to get this done on the 22nd. But CCs and the pedagogy team can also send you notes through the notification center. So I saw that there was a typo in there, so I want to modify it. So I'm just going to click on modify, and I'm going to go fix my typo. Okay, and save. If once I'm done with this, okay, I can mark it as complete and delete it. Okay, so that's not, if it's just a note to myself. We don't want to keep it in the history of the learner. We can just mark it as complete and then delete it if we want.
So now I'm going to send Madame Martin a document for the make-do lesson that we had. So to do that, I'm going to go into Archives, and I'm going to click on Ajouter un document, or add a document. Very simply, we're going to give it a name. So I have a document that I call Make, Do, and Have. We're going to click the type of document. You will select Other. The other option will be available on the real trainer intranet. For the moment, it's not on the test site, but you will choose Other for type of document. We're going to choose our learner, so it's Madame Martin, and we validate. We're going to want to share this document with her, so we're going to publish it on her extranet. So we're going to click on this little button. It becomes blue when we share. So I'm going to do that again. So to share on the extranet, we just click on extranet. And I'm going to go select my document. So this is a document that I use when I work on Make, Do, and Have with my learners. So it's a PowerPoint. I'm just going to click on Open, and the document will upload onto FormDev. And you click Save. So this is a really easy way to share documents with your learners. This also creates an archive for Madame Martin. So if she comes back for future lessons, we will know what documents have been shared with her and some of the materials that have been used for previous lessons in previous courses. So very easy. So add a document, you just follow the different steps, and that way this document will now be available on her extranet and she will be informed of this. She'll receive a notification of this. And that's how we send documents to our learners. That brings me to the close of working with Madame Martin.
If she comes back for future lessons, in the archive, we will have the history, we'll have all of this history of what has been used for her and actually be able to visualize it. Okay. I also saw on my planning, so I'm going to go back to my planning, that the week of June 22nd, I have this lesson and I see that there are two participants. I'm not quite sure what this is, so I'm going to go get the information, a little bit more information about this lesson. So I see that it's it's Bello and somebody else. I'm going to click on my sessions. I'm going to see Bello and Goujon. I see that it's Wano and that it's an intensive. So I'm going to open the session. Again, I'm going to go find, I see that it's a B2 program, that it's an intensive week, that it's English, no CPF, they have 35 hours. And if I look at the agenda, I'm only going to see the lessons that are given to me. For the moment in FormDev, we cannot see the entire week's planning. So it's hopefully something that will come relatively quickly once we go live, but we can only see the lessons that have been given to me as the trainer for those slots. But if I click on intervenant, I know that all of these other trainers are teaching this group and are teaching during this intensive week. Here I have the participants. Okay. In pedagogy, I'm going to look at the first course notes to see if they've had an oral test. And yes, I see that there are 2 notes. So yes, they've had an oral test. Now on the real trainer intranet, you will see their names here. This is just a bug on the test site. Okay, you will see their names. So you will be able to view their tests and the comments. I'm going to look if they responded to the quiz. Here it's in orange, so no, they did not respond to the quiz. I'm going to check if they've completed the needs analysis. So I click and yes, they did. Okay, so here I have Miss Bellows and here I have Mr. Goujon's.
So because this is an intensive week, there's an intensive plan that has been prepared by the pedagogy department, and they have made that intensive plan available not only to the learners, but also to you. So they are able to consult the intensive plan, and we're going to find that in the archives. So we click on archives, and we see here that the intensive plan has been shared on the extranets of the learners, but it also allows you to download or visualize the intensive plan in either Word form or PDF form. So we're going to go on either Docs. So if I click on Docs, it's going to download the intensive plan in a Word document, and then you click on it and it will open it up. Remember to activer la modification so that you can download it and save it to your computer. Or you can visualize it as a PDF. So here FormDev is going to generate a PDF, which again you can download and then save to your computer. So télécharger and save to your computer. So this is a really easy way now to consult the intensive plan for this week. We will no longer be sending separate emails with the intensive plan once FormDev goes live. We will have it here in the session so that the learners can see it and that you can also see it and be able to use it to help prepare the lessons that have been assigned to you. So that's how we visualize the intensive plans for intensive weeks.
Before we look at how to complete the skills assessment or the competencies evaluation in FormDev, let's take a moment to talk a little bit about the competencies. So the competencies are aligned with the CEFR. And as you know, the CFR describes language learners' skills at 6 main levels from A1 to C2. And these skills take the form of can-do statements that positively describe what learners are able to do when using a foreign language. So for example, can introduce themselves, can talk about their daily routine, can make recommendations, can understand long texts in detail. For each CFR level, we have chosen 20 key skills. For any of you who have ever looked at the CFR, there are hundreds of competencies, and we consolidated those into 20 key skills broken down into fundamental skills, listening, reading, speaking, writing, and interaction, communicative skills, for example, giving opinions or summarizing information, and linguistic skills, grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation. These skills are common to all languages and do not go into the details of the structures specific to each language. The competencies are at the heart of our pedagogical approach. So without changing our teaching methods or the way we do things, this new skills-based learning system will be at the heart of our pedagogical processes and central to the way in which we use FormDev. From now on, our training programs are based on specific skills to be developed at each level and aligned with the competencies. These skills serve as evaluation criteria during the initial oral test and the end of course report, but also the written tests, and they were even taken into account when we worked on the new needs analysis. When you conduct a skills assessment, or i.e., end of course report in FormDev language, you will evaluate your learner on the 20 competencies corresponding to their level. How are we going to proceed? So the skills assessment is to be carried out at the end of a learner's course in the pedagogy tab, and we'll look at how to do that in a moment. This assessment consists of evaluating the learner's level on the 20 competencies that correspond to their overall level. So their level for A1 or B1, C1, C2, etc. For each competency, a drop-down menu allows you to choose from 4 levels of acquisition: developing, consolidating, operational, and acquired. You also have the option of selecting the not covered option for competencies that have not been covered in class. For the 4 levels of acquisition, in the trainer guide that you received in the training pack, you will have the definitions of each level of acquisition by CEFR level. These 4 options correspond to the 4 sublevels of each CFR level. So if you're assessing a trainee at level B2, developing corresponds to B2.1, consolidating corresponds to B2.2, operational corresponds to B2.3, and acquired corresponds to B2.4. So you will look at each skill and decide if For each skill, they are developing, consolidating, operational, or acquired. A trainee at level B2.3 will likely have a majority of skills assessed as operational and a few corresponding to other options. We should not see at B2.3 the majority of skills assessed as acquired. They may have a few acquired skills, but the majority should really be operational, and they still may have one or two developing skills and some consolidating skills. After evaluating your learner on these 20 competencies, you will be asked to enter in their start level. And we saw where in FormDev to find the start level. You'll also be asked to enter their end level, to validate the session, and this is very simple to do, and to leave a general comment. Validating the session is quite important because it tells the CC that the end of course report or the skills assessment in FormDev is complete and that they can send it to the learner, the client, the HR training manager, etc. Leaving a general comment, we feel that it's important to leave positive comments, and there's a lot more information about how to do this and what to say and what not to say in the trainer guide that you received in the training pack. But positive comments, because the learner, the client, HR manager, etc., will see these comments. If there's really nothing positive to say, we prefer that you leave this comment blank. We're going to look at how to do all of this in FormDev in a moment. Very important, don't forget to save your skills assessment once you've finished completing it. If you forget to save, there's a little pop-up that asks you, do you really want to quit before saving? And just remember to go back and validate and save. So now we're going to go back to FormDev and look at how to complete the competencies evaluation. Now that we've looked at a little bit more in detail how we got to the competencies, how we thought about them, developed them, and how to evaluate them, I'm going to show you how we actually do this on FormDev. So just a reminder, we went, so we're evaluating Madame Windsor, and we're going to go into her session, click on the pedagogy menu and click on competency evaluation. And it brings you to this. So here we have all the competencies, so the 20 competencies, and we're going to evaluate them one by one. So when I click on the little pencil icon to modify, I get to the drop-down menu, and I'm going to choose if this is developing, consolidating, operational, acquired, or not, we didn't work on this during the lessons. Okay, so we're going to read the competency, and I'm going to say that this one is developing. Sorry, this is in French, and it will be in French and English on the real site when it goes live on July 1st. And we're going to save. I go to the next one. Okay, so this one is can understand the main points, etc. I'm going to say she's also developing, and I save. Written comprehension. This is consolidating, and I save. And I've, just to save time, filled in here. We see that we did not address this issue or address this skill in during the lessons, so we're going to write no aborder. Okay, and I do that for every competency, so I just click on the menu, choose the level of acquisition until the end. Then I'm going to have to enter in the start level. So to do that, We're going to save. Don't forget to save what you've done. So to find the start level, just as a reminder, we go into the pedagogical of the course notes, and it's always the first course notes. So we see here that it's B1.1. We come back to our competencies evaluation. I can use the scroll down bar to go quickly. So her start level is B1.1, and I'm going to mark that as acquired. She's only had uh, 20 hours of lessons. So I think she's made some progress, but there's a lot of consolidation that needs to be done. So I'm going to evaluate her N level at B1.1 plus, and that level is acquired. We will then validate the session. So here she participated in almost all lessons. So we are going to answer yes to validate the session. If she had participated in under 25% of the lessons, so that means on 20 hours, she only came to 4 lessons, we would write here non évalué, which is here. But that's not her case. She was very motivated and came. And we can write a quick comment if we want. Again, if there's nothing we want to say, we leave this blank. But I said, Elizabeth made good progress and has started to consolidate a certain number of grammar points and tenses. She also acquired some new vocabulary that she has been able to use in sentences throughout the course. She completed all the self-study assignments and read all the articles I sent her. Very motivated learner and tried to apply all the grammar points learned during the course. And we save. And you are done with the competencies evaluation. So if we go back to the competencies, so B1.1 was her start level, just to make sure that it's coherent. B1.1, we see that most of the competencies are either developing or consolidating. Developing or consolidating. Developing or consolidating. Nothing has been acquired yet, and nothing except she has really good pronunciation, so she's operational. Okay, so it's coherent with the levels. Again, really important that you validate the session so that the CC knows that the evaluation is completed and can send it to the learner, the company, and the training manager in the HR department. Okay. The last thing we're going to look at, so I'm going to come back to my welcome page, are the signatures. So this works exactly like So We Sign. So here I have some lessons for which I need to sign. So I'm just going to click on the lesson. I'm going to say that I participated. So I'm going to sign. And I'm going to mark my learner present. And using the 3 little dots here, envoyer la demande de signature. So send the signature email. And you click on that and hit save, and you're done. If I wanted to say that my learner was absent, was a no-show, or late cancellation, okay, so we looked at how to just delete lessons off of the planning when the cancellation is within the deadline. Now, if this is a late cancellation or a no-show, we're going to click on absent, and you get these 2 little menus. If it's a late cancellation, you will click on absence facturable or billable absence and hit save, and it will come up as a late cancellation uh, in the system. Okay, so very similar to So We Sign, but it's integrated into your intranet. The only little difference is that if they are absent and it's a late cancellation or no show, then we need to put absence facturable or billable absence. Okay, if you're with your learner, okay, they're in the same room as you can mark them present and ask them to sign if you're using your computer or your tablet or your smartphone. Okay, and will hit save, and that will take care of the signatures. And I'm just going to film it. Yes, I want to close. Okay, and I'm going to come back. Okay. All right, there seems to be a little bug. So I'm just going to refresh so that I can close this window. Okay, there we go. All right. One last thing that I'll mention before I finish the demo, you can log on to your intranet using your phone. And a tablet and the view will adjust automatically. So it's good to know that you can access all of this information using your smartphone or using a tablet, and the views will adjust automatically. That brings me to the end of the demo. I hope this helps you learn how to use FormDev. And that you can go back to this video and this demo time and time again when you have a doubt on how to do something. And as always, the pedagogy department is here to help. So if you need extra help or have other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you so much for watching this demo.